Alrighty, so we're doing Politician Week. And last time we talked about what was the motivation for someone to become a politician, right? What drove them? And essentially what I said was, well, they want to be a politician because they want to change the world. And if their intentions might be good or might be bad, but in every case, it's to change the world to be more like them. But that's not really what we think of as their job. That may be the outcome, that may be the practical result, that might be their motivation. But that's not how the average person thinks of their politician, right? So, what is the job description of a politician, right? What is it that they actually do? Because motivations aside, what do they do? And what they do is primarily whatever the people who voted them in want them to do, right? They say, hey, we have some problems here in our little community. Go fix them, right? They fix problems. They make them go away. And how they make them go away? Well, they set a rule in place and say, hey, here's a problem. This rule solves the problem. All good. Move on. We have a policy. That's going to make things better. All that kind of stuff, right? That's really all politicians do. They can't actually go and fix the problems themselves. They can just say, hey, we've put together a task force. And that task force, they're going to fix the problem. We've created a law, and we're going to have the police enforce that law. And that'll make the problem go away, right? That's what politicians functionally do. And so the question comes up. What if what a politician does is whatever their voters or constituents or whatever you want to call it, whatever the people tell them to do, right? They may do it in their own way, with their own flavor, whatever, but fundamentally, they do what people ask them to do. What if the people are asking the politician to do something bad? What if the people are asking something that shouldn't be done? Right? Does the politician follow what the community desires, at least the majority of the community, their base? Do they do what those people want? Or do they refuse and say, no, I'm not going to do what you say, even though it'll probably cost me my reelection? Well, in a sense, we would kind of like the second to happen, because it only hurts them and it doesn't hurt the rest of the society. But normally what happens is the first. That's kind of how politics is set up. That you do things to get reelected. And so when everyone's asking you to do something, well, you tend to listen. And sometimes that thing is good and sometimes that thing isn't. And it's not often that you see a politician stand up against a crowd of people loudly shouting and saying, hey, this is what we want. That's the whole reason why protesting ever can work. If the politician just did whatever they thought was okay, regardless of what anyone else said, well, then protesting would never work at all, right? And so, in a sense, that's good, right? They're accountable to someone. They're doing what someone says, but what if what those people want is bad? And before we talk more about this, I'm going to go back a few weeks. We were talking about prostitution, right? About how that whole aspect of things is really about dehumanization, right? And yesterday I talked about dehumanization. I said, hey, that politician is talking about society, not people. Society. They're dehumanizing everyone. And so that makes me think maybe there is a connection there. And so, what is a prostitute? What is a whore? Right? What is a whore? Now, you can say someone who sells sex for money, right? Transaction, all that stuff, but it's more than that. Because you see, we will sometimes call someone a whore in a context outside of sex for money, right? And that's because what a whore is fundamentally someone who takes a person's temptation and removes it from them. But it's particularly the way they remove it that's the issue. Because they don't distract them, they don't direct them to something more worthwhile. No, they remove the temptation by helping you commit the sin. Right? That the reason being a whore is bad is because someone says, hey, I see that you're having a really hard time, not having sex. Well, let me fix that for you. You're always tempted to have sex with random people. Well, I'm a random person. Have sex with me. Problem solved. That's what a whore is, right? That's what they do. What I'm saying now is fundamentally politicians do the same thing. That the politician says, hey, you're having some problems, right? What is it? The drug dealer on the corner? Yeah, that's not good for the community. You're probably tempted to go out there and maybe beat him up. At least give him a talking to, right? Maybe even kill him. Oh, man. Don't do that. No. Don't do that. That would be really hard on you to be a murderer just because some drug dealer's ruining your town. No. I'll do it, okay? I'll do it for you. I'll round up some cops. We'll beat the heck out of him. Maybe even throw him in a jail. Because if you as a person were to beat that drug dealer over the head, lock him in your basement, well, that would be bad. So instead of you doing that, let me do it, right? I'll commit all of the sins for you. I'll do all of it. I'll threaten people. I'll steal from people. I'll hurt people. Anything you want. You just let me know, okay? Anyone bothers you, say no more. I'll take care of it, right? That's what politicians do. Whenever they raise taxes, they say, oh, you want to pay for something? And those greedy people, they're not just handing their money over to you. They think that, oh, maybe they could fix it in a different way. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. No. I know what you're thinking. Those people have so much money and this cause is so just. Maybe we just steal their money. But hey, that would be wrong. Stealing is wrong. So I'll do it. I'll tax them for you. I'll take all their money. I'll take it and take it and take it. And if they don't give it to me, I'll shoot them in the head. Oh, sorry, too far. Maybe I'll just throw them in a prison again, right? Yeah, that's how you do it. That's what a politician does. They fix problems precisely by taking your worst instincts. The things that if you lived out, oh my gosh, it would live with you for the rest of your life. You would forever regret it. You would see yourself in the mirror and be disgusted. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did something so heinous, so horrible. They take that instinct and say, don't you worry, I'll do it for you. That way you can pretend you're still a good person. That way when you ask for, that way instead of stealing money from a whole bunch of people and feeling like an evil SOB, you can just vote to raise taxes and feel like a good person, like a moral person, like someone who's making this world a better place. That's what being a politician is. And so when you compare that to the whore that says, oh, you're having a hard time. There's so many pretty girls out in the world. Oh, you just want to make love to them, right? You just want to share your love. Yeah, I know, but it would be so hard if you just went out there and tried to seduce that woman. Like, that's not nice to that woman. Seducing her, maybe even tricking her just to sleep with her, that's a bad move. That's a bad look. You would regret that so much. So let me do it. I'll just whore myself out to you. I'll just give it up for no reason, right? I'll shell out a few bucks. Hey, no problem, done deal. And you have nothing to feel bad about because I did the bad thing, not you. Right? Because that's really what people are paying for when they pay for a whore. They're not paying for sexual access. Because there's plenty of other ways to get sexual access, right? They're paying for the removal of that guilt. That they say, well, I could do it the legitimate way, right? Actually woo a woman and, build a relationship and then end up in sex, and that's a beautiful thing. I could do it the sleazy way, right? Where I lie and trick a woman and then it just happens. I could do it the violent way, where I beat her up or drug her and rape her, right? Or I could do it the easy way and just pay for it. And that, you can feel like like a paragon of virtue when you compare prostitution to, drugging a woman and raping her, right? Like, oh my goodness, that feels so much better. I'm so glad I didn't just go around raping people right and left, right? But how many people would actually do that? The alternative is not, do I rape the woman or do I just pay her, right? That's not the alternative. The alternative is, do you pay her or do you, treat her like a person? Do you maybe do it the legitimate good way and try to build a relationship with the actual person? That's the alternative. But all of a sudden with politics, with politicians, we somehow forget that. We just don't see it. Where we say, if we didn't tax them, right? The alternative would be society would fall apart. We would have to steal from them, right? Otherwise society would fall apart. And we don't want to steal. That's bad. And that's not the alternative. The alternative is you raise the money in a legitimate way. Not by stealing it. By providing value to people or asking for donations, charity. Or you build a business model that solves the problem and can pay for itself. Or you just do it yourself through your own hard work. But that's not how politicians do things, is it? When was the last time the politician said, hey, I see this problem in the community, so if everyone's good with it, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to get the job done. Not through laws or taxes, but through actual hard work. Not ever. That's never happened. Because that's not what politicians do. That's not what they're for. Because politicians are whores. Their job is to be your whore. Is to do all of the evil, messed up stuff that you want to do, but they take it off your plate. So that way you can pretend you're still a good person. So that way you can imagine that you're good. And that's why politicians run the world. It's because you know if you did it, you couldn't look at yourself in the mirror. You couldn't live with yourself doing all that evil stuff. But what so many people forget is the alternative is not to do the evil stuff yourself, but rather the alternative is to not do anything evil at all. Not you or the politician. And that's a lot of things to think about. That's a hard thing to do, to, just be a good all the time and not make those mistakes, not hurt other people. It's not easy. We're all sinners. But that should always be the goal. That should always be the standard. Well, you may not get there. I won't either. But that's what we should be trying to do, at least. Right?